All right, so I've never done anything like this before, so this is a first time for me. If you buy from me, that you know that my soaps are made for you guys to use. And these are too, it's not like these are an exception. It's just I normally make them with like some swirls and some colors, and I try to make them pretty, but I'm not artistic in that way as far as I'm making intricate designs. But this time what I did was, and now they're not like intricate or anything like that or too fancy, but what I did was I made 3 sets of soap that are inspired, or that were inspired by a recent trip that we took to Havasupai Falls in Arizona. And I will post some pictures. I will try to edit this so that the pictures are beside the soap so that you can see where my inspiration came from. Like, they're not going to look exact. I didn't make them to be an exact replica because I know my limitations, and I realize that some people that are very, I guess, more artistic and able to create soap that actually looks like something could probably do this fairly easy. But for me, I tend to just make like a utilitarian soap, like we're going to use my soap. You know, for example, like this, like these bars, you know, to me it's pretty, but it's not like intricate or fancy, and I just kind of make them according to how they smell. I try to you know, coordinate the way they look to the way they smell. But with these, it's more about the landscape that I saw at Havasupai. That's how I was inspired to make these soaps. So the first one is like they had a bunch of cactus there, and they had the I mean, they were beautiful. They would just be up on the canyon wall. You would see the yellow and pink cactus. Or cacti, not sure how to, anyway, a cactus. No, I guess there was cacti on the side of the canyon. And we really liked, or my husband actually really liked the pink ones, and I liked them as well. So what I did was the first soap that I made was inspired by the cactus plant. It was just, you know, you're in the desert, so you expect to see cactus. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It was just the way that they were up on the canyon wall was beautiful, because if you go to the Grand Canyon, most people are going to see the Grand Canyon from the viewpoint of up here looking out. But we were able to hike down the canyon, and so our viewpoint of the Grand Canyon was actually from like down here looking up at the canyon, which is, I think, makes it more spectacular, you know, because we saw it out above it, but then when you're down in it and looking up, you can really see how grand the Grand Canyon is. And it's just, you know, when you look up at it, it was just almost surreal. The water there was so blue, and apparently gets the blue color in the Havasupai, or Havasu Falls, gets that blue color from the lime that's in the canyon, from the rock. It turns the water blue. So the blue color that you see is not photoshopped. Any pictures that you see, if you Google Havasupai or Havasu Falls, Mooney Falls, any of the Beaver Falls, any of the falls that are there, there's several waterfalls that are there. The most famous one would be Havasu Falls or Mooney Falls and Beaver Falls. There's 3 main ones, but to me the most beautiful one was actually Havasu Falls. That one actually is the easiest one to get to. The most difficult one to get to is Mooney Falls, where you actually have to scale the side of the mountain or the canyon, literally holding on to a chain. And that's the part that got me. Like, I actually froze when I got to the top, and you know, just looking over several hundred feet down, I just thought, I don't know if I can do this. And actually I would not have been able to do it, except that going down the mountain, the chain is, or the canyon, the chain is nailed into the side of it, and my husband was behind, like he went first, so I was above him, and I couldn't look, so he was literally having to like tell me where to put my feet, because my legs were shaking so bad I couldn't put my feet where they needed to go because I was so afraid of heights. and it just made my stomach upset. But when we got to the bottom to see Mooney Falls, and I'll insert a picture, was just magical. It really was. The mist, because the waterfall is so big, the mist from the waterfall will get you wet even climbing down the side of the canyon because it's just so big. And in the pictures, just like most things, you know, it really doesn't do it justice, but it was just a really good trip. So that's why I was inspired to make these soaps. So let's cut them. So the first one, like I said, is this cactus. And keep in mind, excuse me, that these will not be like a picture or anything like that as far as looking exact. It's just inspired by. And the way I did this was the green turned out a lot lighter than what I thought it would. Because when you make soap, it can be difficult to get your colors exactly how you want it because different things can affect your color of your soap. Obviously, just because soap is so alkaline, it can morph and change color a little bit when you add micas and natural colorants to it, but also your fragrance oil or essential oil can change the color of your soap a little bit. But this one, I think it was just the color mica that I used was just a little bit lighter than what I had in my mind. But anyway, it turned out good. So this one is, I'll try and show you. You can see where it's got like the little black specks in there. Those are little poppy seeds, but when you look at a cactus, it actually has the little black specks. And I'll insert a picture of, I think I have a really up close picture of the yellow one, but I'll do what I can to make this make sense. But anyway, the little poppy seeds, and then these are like representing the flowers, obviously, and on top. And so that one turned out kind of cute because on a cactus, like I said, it's not gonna look like a cactus, but it's inspired by a cactus. But that's that one, so I think it turned out really cute, and it smells really fresh and clean. I mean, like, can't explain it, but it's a new fragrance. I haven't ever sold this one before, so I will probably call this one, I don't know yet. Let me think on that, cactus or something like that, but I'll think about it. So I'll decide what we're gonna name that, but I probably will make it again. It may not look like this again because I'm not good at duplicating soaps, as most of you guys probably know. If you buy from me, then all my soaps tend to look a little different every time because I make them a little different each time because I don't always remember exactly how I made it. And then not only that, it's fun to play around with making them look a little bit different each time. So this soap is going to be the one that, like I said, I'll put pictures in so that you can see what I'm talking about. But this one is going to be a scene when we were down at the water, and I want to say we were at this particular picture I'll insert in. We were at Havasupai Falls. So this soap is one where we were down at Havasupai Falls, and the Havasupai Fall is to the right of where we were, but this was an area where there was just a lot of water, like a little pool area, not an actual pool obviously, but a pool of water. Then you're looking at it and you see all the greenery, and you look up at the canyon, and so this little top piece is like representing the canyon, and it's not as orange as I needed it to be, but again, I used rose clay to color that, so it's more of a rose color, but the true canyon is more rusty orange in color. But anyways, so like I said, it goes back to the viewpoint. When you're there, you're down looking up at the canyon, which is just, I don't know, it's incredible. So anyway, we'll cut this one and see what it looks like. And put all this to the side. And all of these scents are going to be clean because, you know, usually if you make a, or have a thought or a memory of a place, sometimes it may smell like something, you know, like if you go and see lavender fields, it's obviously going to smell like lavender. Or if you go to the beach, it has that smell. There's really no specific smell to speak of in Arizona or in Havasupai, Arizona. And we were in the Indian reservation. It was more just clean air. It, you know, didn't really smell like anything. And so all of these just smell clean. They're not really florally or masculine or feminine. They're just all very clean, and all three are gonna be different. Okay, so this one, you can see as if you're standing at the water and then looking kind of up is how I was thinking. And you see the green bush because you're in the desert and you're in the middle of the canyon, but this area is like a tropical paradise. I mean, you just have to see pictures to see what I mean, but it was just incredible. So it's like you're standing in the water and then you're looking up. So then you see the bushes because there's a lot of greenery, and then you see the tip of the canyon because you're looking, like I said, up at it as you're standing down here in the water. The water is literally this blue, no joke, so it's really pretty. So this one turned out good. Like I said, these are not like fancy or whatever, like they're not an exact representation, but it's just, I have to say, inspired by, because that's as close as this girl's gonna get to making something look like something other than soap, right? But anyway, I just thought it would be fun. Crap. This one has got a dent in it now, so I'll keep that one for myself. All right, so the next soap, all right, as we were walking down the path, and there was a lot of paths, it's very rough terrain to walk on. It's very rocky, obviously, as you would expect, and uneven. So you would be walking on big boulders or little tiny rocks, and then in some areas there's actually sand that you're walking through, which that's tough. That was probably the hardest part, because it's like walking at the beach. You know how like when you're walking in the sand right when you get to the beach, not close to the ocean, but like that thick sand that like you sink down into? That was a good bit of, well, maybe not a good bit, maybe like a mile or so of the walk, if not longer, maybe a mile and a half, is in that really deep sand, and your feet will just sink, and you're carrying a heavy backpack, and like our backpacks probably weighed like 30 pounds, just under 30 pounds. And so you're sinking, and I tell you, by the end of it, my feet were burning, my back was hurting. I had like rash on my hips from where the backpack just kept rubbing. It would like go up and down on my hips. I probably didn't have it positioned right, because you know, we're not like avid hikers or campers, and I don't know, we didn't really know what we were doing. We just did a lot of research and did the best we could, but yeah, we didn't have our backpacks right, because me and my daughter both had really bad rashed up hips, and I mean, it hurt so bad. It was just purple and bruised, and and then when you're walking in that sand and your feet, anyway. So this is one of the soaps I made that was inspired by one of the trails when you're there. And this one wasn't the sand part, but it was like where it was probably the prettiest to me. It was like a tan dirt color, and it was pretty easy walking. The pebbles were like maybe half the size of your fist, and so it's pretty easy walking. But then when you're looking out, you see you know, the beige dirt with the bush, and it was just all kinds of greenery. And then looking up at the canyon, and then the canyon had these black streaks coming down the canyon, and I don't know what causes that, whether it's mineral content or just the erosion, whatever. I'm not a geologist, but it was really pretty. And then looking up at the sky, it was like a gray color that day. We had a lot of gray skies, but we had a lot of sun too. It was probably like a 50-50 mix, but just for some reason that canyon against the gray sky looked magical. Or, you know, one that represents it the best of where I got the inspiration from to make this soap. And again, I have to stress, it may not look exactly like it, but loosely inspired. We're gonna get tired of hearing that by the end of this, but I just don't want you to have too high of expectations for how it looks, because soap can be difficult to, at least for me, because my brain doesn't think that way. But when you're thinking of like when you draw, you're just drawing as you see it. But with making soap, you have to think in layers from the bottom up because as you're pouring it. So it can be difficult for like my kind of brain that doesn't think that way to get it to look how you want it to look. Okay, so let me pick one that looks the closest so I can show you. That's pretty cool. I wish my black was going down instead of, okay, that one's cool. No, this one's pretty good. Okay, so let me see, hold on. Let me find the best one that's a good representation so that, okay, this is probably a good one. All right, they're all about the same, but each soap is a little different when you cut it. This one's actually probably pretty good. Okay. So, and what I did to this one is the bottom part is Residual clay, and I added a little bit of walnut hull powder to the bottom. And then in the green section, which is representing the bushes and things, I did add alfalfa, dried alfalfa, so to give it some texture. And then in the canyon, because it had those black streaks, I added a little bit of activated charcoal. And then for the clouds, because they were kind of like a gray-white color, I did add just a tiny bit of activated charcoal to turn it gray instead of black. So this one's actually a pretty good representation. Kind of proud of this one. So that's that. Okay, so you can see, well, this is where I cut it right here, but we'll turn it over then so it's better. But this would be like the path you're walking on, and then the greenery, and you can see that there's like texture in there, and then the canyon with the black streaks, and then the gray clouds, kind of see, I don't know. You probably have to see it in person to really appreciate it, but it actually turned out really good. And it smells really good too. So this one will be just the touch exfoliating, not anything major, but just a little bit, because I did add the pumice and the black walnut hull powder to the bottom, just a little bit, just enough to give it a little grit. Because what I was thinking when I was making the soap was how textured the ground was and how difficult it was when we were walking to, carrying those backpacks with the textured ground, it was tough. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy my video on these soaps here. We have the cactus inspired soap and the water inspired soap looking up at the canyon. Hold on, I got one more. And then the trail inspired soap. So there we go. I can't get them all in there. So anyway, I will post these, and if you guys are interested in having you a Havasupai trip soap and have a nice clean smelling soap that feels really nice too, because I made all of these actually with kefir. Instead of using plain goat's milk, I used our goat's milk kefir to make all of these. So they should be extra rich and creamy.